You won't be 10 minutes into any M&A conversation between a buyer and seller, and someone is going to say the most important thing to consider about a partnership is culture. So what's the big deal? So culture is easily the most common term used when either a buyer or seller is articulating what's going to be the recipe for a successful partnership. You got to get the cultural fit right. The challenge is I don't often meet people who have a definition, or certainly not a universally accepted definition of what do you mean when you say cultural fit. Often because they lack a definition for it, it becomes a subjective, more like a gut feel of do we like one another, are we very similar, and I don't think that's really a good way of determining if it's a cultural fit. In fact, I would argue that you don't even have to like me, or we don't have to have shared the same political or religious or whatever values, and we might be very good partners if we are aligned on whatever the business points and the vision of the business are. I would tell you that when you're trying to determine if this is a good cultural fit, avoid what I would just call values statements. Things like, we believe in the fiduciary standard, or honesty, objectivity, things that are hard work, those things that anyone would agree to. So it's not really meaningful in determining if this is a good fit for you, because if you ask someone, are you honest? Of course they're going to tell you that they're honest. So rather we would want you to look for points of alignment. And so I would start with like the strategic vision of the firm. So if I were looking at a buyer, I would want to know, what is the strategic vision for what you're building? For example, are you trying to be a national brand? Are you trying to be a dominant planning-centric firm? What is your exit strategy? What do you see in terms of a liquidity event down the road? Are you trying to build towards an IPO? Are you building towards a strategic sale? Are you building something that will have internal shareholder liquidity? These will all be things that help you determine if strategically you align to what they're trying to build. Perhaps another area that you could ask specifics would be what do you believe the advisor value proposition is to clients? This will go a long way in determining if this firm sees the role of the financial advisor similarly to you. So for example, there are firms out there who don't value financial planning. They're predominantly an investment-centric value proposition to their clients. Well, if you're a big believer in holistic financial planning, that wouldn't necessarily be a fit. So you want to ask them what they believe the role of the financial advisor is, and learn how they're shaping the support, the services, products, whatever, around delivering upon that value proposition. Next would be like a practice management model. Typically, larger firms will have a preferred way of operating, inclusive of like your staff. What are the roles and responsibilities, titles and things like that of the local office? Who does what on what day? How are they going to ask you to operate, and would you otherwise agree with that? That will help you determine could you see yourself working in their world. The other would be on the autonomy points that we've discussed in previous videos. Often you have a desire to control certain aspects of your autonomy. We break those into 5 distinct areas. So there's strategic decision-making, financial, staff decision-making, your client experience, which would be the investment philosophy of the firm and the financial planning recommendations, and then your calendar. So your partner will often have an opinion on all of those areas of decision-making. Specifically, are you going to make those decisions, or are they going to make those decisions in each one of those areas? So you would want to ask specifically, for example, if we're talking about the client experience, do you have an investment platform that you're going to ask me to divest portfolio management to? Well, if you're of the opinion that you don't want to divest portfolio management, you think what you're doing, you want to continue doing for whatever your reason is, and they were going to require you to divest that, well, that would be a misalignment then on autonomy. I would tell you, you won't have 100% alignment. Don't seek 100% alignment. It would be nice if you could get there, but if you can get to 80, maybe 90% alignment on all those different areas, that's a much more practical way of determining whether this is a cultural fit. Obviously, you would love to like them, you would like to be friends with them, but that's not necessarily a requirement to have a good fit if you have a high degree of alignment on their strategic vision, the way that they operate, which is practice management, and on their points of autonomy. So that's my opinion on cultural fit. Hope that helped you. Happy to answer any questions. I look forward to talking to you soon. I'm Alan Darby, CEO of Alaris Acquisitions. I'm looking forward to meeting you soon.